Bournemouth 3, Man United 0, relentless positivity completely in the mud. United with the, performance for parts of the game, but individual errors, players not being good enough, completely costing us. Informed Bournemouth gets another win and embarrasses United at Old Trafford. Start with the negatives. A few players were really bad today, and that's what cost us the win. I would say Martial. I don't blame Martial. His body's completely let him down. Whose fault that is, I don't know. His. Ollie's for playing him when he was injured. Doesn't matter. He's not good enough. Like, we should replace him in January and do whatever we can to do that. If that means like releasing him, paying him to go away, whatever, trying to sell him, I don't care, swapping him for somebody else. Like, we need another striker in January, because if we can't rely on him to come in, and again, I don't want to take anything away from Bournemouth. I know they were in form. I know they've been playing very well lately. But, if we can't rely on him to come in against Bournemouth and those, lower level teams in the Premier League to give Højlund that rest, then, what good is he? It's not like anything personal. I've always loved him as a player. I thought he was very good in preseason last year, and he was as fit as he's been in years, and he just kept getting hurt, and he's never recovered. I think his time is done at United. Not to take anything away from him, I don't think he's at the level required. Bruno, who I think is, our best player. He's been our best player for the last 4 years or whatever it is since he's come from Sporting. He always has been there with, big passes or big goals or make the right decision leading from the front. But, there's situations where he can't get out of his own way, right? The pass to McTominay, who obviously didn't cover himself with glory either, that led to the first goal. That's directly on Bruno. Bruno's got to be smarter with the ball. And there was an instance in the second half where we had them pinned. We had like 3 corners in the row. They couldn't get out of their own box. Ball falls to Bruno. Just has to make the simple pass, keep it moving, keep the pressure on. Instead, he just pings the ball out of bounds on some crazy diagonal, because that's what he does. He's always looking for the Hollywood ball. Like, he needs to learn to pick and choose his spots better. It can't be so feast and famine with him. Like, he's got to make better decisions. And as the captain, he went and got himself suspended for the Liverpool game when he argued and got that yellow card, towards the end of the game. He's got to make better decisions, and he went out there and lost his head and contributed a big part to us losing this game. Scott McTominay scored a lot of crucial goals for us. Scored 2 goals against Chelsea. He scored 2 goals against, Sheffield, to end an injury time or an extra time to get us a win. And look, when he's scoring goals, awesome. But if he's doing anything else on the pitch, he is substandard. He's not United quality. He's not good enough for this team. If we're going to play McTominay, that means he has to play forward because he's only useful in the box. That pushes Bruno back, and he's not as good as that sitting 8-6 role that Christian Eriksen played last year. He gives us less control than Eriksen, and only a little bit better defensively, but that's not where Bruno's at his best. He's better in where McTominay is playing. Or they both push up, and then that leaves Amrabat or Casemiro or whoever's playing the 6 exposed, because they both want to get forward and get in the box and score goals. McTominay is not good building out from the back. He's not good, holding possession. He's not good playing through balls. I don't know why he plays. I'm serious. Like, I know he's scoring as much as he is. It's hard to drop him. And, Erik ten Hag, I understand you can't drop a guy who's won you multiple games with his goals. But, for a long term, like, we can't play McTominay, in a midfield unless the other 2 guys are, really good at building up, and his job is just to play as a striker or second striker getting into the box. Luke Shaw, this one's kind of a hard one. He wasn't bad in the first half. He was really bad in the second half. We give Victor Lindelof a hard time for getting bullied. Solanke bullied Luke Shaw today. And in the second half, he just couldn't do anything right. I know he came off with an injury, but, we need a center back in January so Luke Shaw can focus on playing left back. Also want to make sure, we keep in mind, Luke Shaw was injured for a long time, and he's come back and he's played a lot of football since he's been back. We haven't really eased him into it. The first game we won big against Everton, so he got to come off. But besides that, he's basically played the whole match in every other game we've played since he's come back from injury. So, not completely on him, but he wasn't great today. And then lastly, Amrabat. I don't think Amrabat's good enough for United. I'm not sure he can play in the Premier League in a system like this. Yeah, he's just robotic and stiff. He was awesome at the World Cup. He's running all over the pitch. I know he didn't have a preseason this year, and maybe that's derailed his season, but he just does not look good enough. Obviously, I wouldn't send him back in January or anything. Maybe he can turn it around before the end of the year. But the way it's looking now, I think he's going back to Fiorentina and getting sold somewhere. And honestly, I don't want to in a game where we lose 3-0. I don't want to focus on singling out any player for positive, but I will say Garnacho looked dangerous today. Antony looked dangerous. He ran his socks off. He took the ball off the players. Højlund looked dangerous when he came on. Delo was good for the most part. I wouldn't put it on him, but it kind of felt like a turning point was where Delo had the ball. He could have squared it to Højlund, and he took the shot himself. And, we did all this build up to get to this point where it's the two of them in the box. All he has to do is square it, and instead he shoots it into the side netting. It just kind of showed the decision-making that we've made today, being selfish, trying to do everything yourself. That's what has, killed United in this game and often this season. And then from a, management standpoint, I don't blame Ten Hag for playing Martial instead of Højlund. You don't want to run Højlund into the ground. He just, came back from a muscle injury. So, you have to use the squad. I don't blame him for playing Luke Shaw at center back. I think he was good in the first half or most of the first half, and maybe he wasn't as good because, because of the injury he ended up picking up at the end where he had to come off for Johnny Evans. But, we're playing the players we have, right? Like, obviously, Varane, could play, but he's not, playing for whatever reason. I don't think he was great when he was playing this year, and he's definitely lost a step from last year. Other than that, we don't really have a lot of options. And we brought on Rashford. We brought on Pellistri. Pellistri ran. Rashford ran a little bit. Højlund did run, but, he got a couple shots off. We're just not, we just don't have the quality in the squad to be dominating teams. And, the media and the fans have been calling for performances. Today there was a performance, there was a style of play, another thing people have been calling for. But, when we play this way, we end up getting cooked because, our defense can't keep people out, and then our midfield, there's no control there. So I don't know what you want to say, but, Ten Hag obviously takes some blame because he's the manager, but I think this falls squarely on the mistakes of the players. And, Bruno, again, he knew he couldn't get a yellow card. Like, there's someone who told him. Like, it won't be a surprise for him. Like, he definitely knew going into the game. And he just lost his head in a game where we're losing 3-0. He wasn't going to gain anything from it. And it hurts United next Saturday. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts. Does more of the blame fall on Ten Hag? Were any other players more culpable for what happened? Did I go in too hard on any of the players that I did go in on? What do you think is going to happen this week? Would you rather we went into the Europa League? I mean, obviously everyone would prefer we get into the knockout stage of the Champions League, but would you rather end up in the Europa League, or are you like me where you'd say, like, I'd rather just bin Europe entirely and go and, play one game a week, maybe make a run in the FA Cup, but work on getting healthy, getting fit, and, being able to focus on those individual games and, installing our system and the style of play we want to play. Either way, let me know your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content so you can torture yourself with Manchester United like I've chosen to.